Here we go. How to paint a baby on a beach. I'm sure this is literally what every single person on YouTube has been searching for their entire lives. And I have created the video that will now answer everyone's questions. Yeah. That's why I only have 3,000 subscribers. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning into my small little channel over here. And I hope this video can possibly answer some actual questions that you had on basic how to paint and things like that. So, the first thing that you always gotta wanna do when you're starting a painting, I know I've said this 100 times, you always work on the background first. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. That also depends, there's a caveat there, that also depends on what you're painting. Now, there's some scenarios where you can do that, but most of the time, especially if you're painting landscapes, you're gonna wanna paint the background first because it's very, very difficult to get a gradient, whatever color, smooth and even when you're trying to paint over something and not get any of the lines blurred. So as you can see, the little pencil drawing of the girl with a hat on, it's a little bit fudged, and sometimes I painted right over it, even though the the drawing soaked right through and the paint is actually kind of thin, you can still see it. Reason for that, much easier to get a gradient if you're not worried about painting over something. But anyway, moving on to more important things. I have not really been painting ocean or water themed paintings. I have not done it very much, and I haven't been doing it for very long. Newsflash, in case anyone has been following me for quite a while. And so what I tend to do a lot of times is I try to kind of see where I am. So I kind of add the highlights in before they actually need to be added in so that I can kind of see where I am. Now, obviously, since I'm painting in the gigantic blue ball, or hat, as it actually is, I've kind of got the background the way I wanted it. And I kind of made it a little washed down and kind of subtle because I don't really want a ton of detail in the background because I kind of want your focus to be on the girl in the front. Now, something that I've realized, and this is slightly difficult for me, but it's something that I'm trying to do, is realizing that on the first time you put color down, it doesn't have to be the perfect color. Now, that is something that I have not been able to wrap my head around for a while, and I always try to mix the perfect color. That is why you see people doing the block-in stage, and it doesn't look good most of the time when you see these artists put the first color down. And that's because they're kind of just getting it in the ballpark, because it's much easier to put the right color over something that's very close than it is to put something like that's so far away from the color you're trying to get to and paint right over it, because you're going to get a little bleed through. Greatest example of this is if you try to put red on a canvas and then paint over it with white. I don't care how many times you put white over that red, is going to bleed through. Now, the most difficult thing to get right as far as painting is skin tone, because there's a billion different colors of red that people regularly put on shirts, and blues and oranges and all the things. But skin tones, you kind of know what skin tones are going to be. So this is something that I'm trying to learn how to do quicker and more efficiently, is putting skin tones down. Now, this series of paintings, I've got a couple more videos that I'm going to be posting, and the last video that I posted was a time-lapse, the second painting in this kind of beachy themed series. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do a painting a day, trying to get down to that point. Now, there's a couple things that's going to be doing. It's going to be teaching me what details I need to leave out and the important details to put in. Like this hat, for instance. I'm just kind of getting into the ballpark so you can kind of see what I'm doing, and then I'm going over and kind of putting the finishing touches on the hat with the little dots. Now, originally these dots were actually stars, which I freehanded this grid of stars or little circles, and I don't really know how I was able to get them as uniform as I did. It was kind of a fluke. But anyway, I wasn't about to sit there and put 5 million stars on a hat, because I'd still be painting stars and this video would not be posted. So that's the wonderful thing about being an artist. You can kind of decide what you don't want to do and what parts of a reference photo you don't want to follow. Anyway, back to what I was saying. What was I saying? I hate that when that happens, because you kind of just completely forget what you were saying. It probably had something to do with, oh yeah, block in and skin tones. So that is something I've been trying to learn how to do, is figure out what I need to do to get by and what I need to do to put as little color and as little time into a painting and still achieve a nice, even, and slightly detailed painting. Because I don't really want to do abstract. I don't really want to do impressionism. I want to do realism. I've always wanted to do that and make something as realistic as possible. But it also comes down to this kind of training process of figuring out what you need to actually be focusing on, because it's really easy to get lost in a painting and to over obsess and put so much detail into something that you're sitting there obsessing and you're really not making any actual improvements to a painting. You're just kind of obsessing over something and just not really making it any better. So that's what I'm trying to do. And also the added benefit of that is the less time you spend on a painting, the more you're going to make per hour on the painting if you sell it. Which, by the way, this painting is for sale currently at the posting of this video on my website, KempterCanvas.com, along with a few other paintings that are still on sale, which I don't really know why I haven't changed that. But if you want to take advantage of my laziness, go ahead over there, KempterCanvas.com, check out my paintings and a lot of other things that I've done. Anyway, the skin tones on a person, like I said, are very, I don't know if the word is familiar to people. So there's not really a lot of artistic liberty you can take with that unless you're painting somebody with green skin or something. But the thing that is going to help me with this kind of test, as it were, is spending as little time as possible and figuring out what details I need to put in there and what details I need to take out. On this bucket, I don't really have much to say other than it was a pain in the butt to paint because I couldn't get a nice fade between that shadow. I kind of did by like putting in a lot of dark shadows. Now the form of the bucket, I do admit, is kind of off. The symmetry of it, it's not really perfect, but it's there. I mean, I kind of freehanded it. I've done a lot of work where I try to make something like as exact as the painting, or not exact as the painting, but exact as the reference photo. And sometimes I try to make it so it's not as uniform as possible, and I'm actually doing a lot of freehanding. Anyway, the grand scheme of things, I'm pretty happy with the way this painting came out. And I hope you like it. If you want to buy it, go over to my website, KempterCanvas.com, check it out. And also, some people have been asking me if I would set up a Patreon page for those who would like to support me. If you guys want to do that, I'm on Patreon. I'll put the link in the description. A lot of people have been asking me, or a few people have been asking me. I don't have a lot of people asking me things. Oh, look, the video's done. All right, see you guys next time.